As a matter of fact, the dealers in Florida and Texas are all crooks. So tell me, if a coin dealer doesn't pay you melt or spot for your gold or your silver, are they crooks? We're going to talk about that in this video, so stay tuned. My name is Daniel, and you are watching Coin Help You. Thanks for watching my latest video. And here's my website, portsmouthcoinshop.com, where I have silver rounds, silver eagles, and other bullion, as well as books and things. But I have silver rounds here for $36. It's a credit card price and no sales tax. These are rounds that I paid anywhere from $1 back of melt or spot to 25 cents over. And I can guarantee you I'm not a crook. If I take gold coins to the refinery, I'm going to get 98% if I have enough gold, maybe 98.5%. I do not think that guy at the refinery is a crook. I accept the fact that he cannot pay me what those coins are worth. Now, we talked about this yesterday in a video, and that's what this response sparked, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about this comment and why it was made. So I know for a fact that not all the dealers in Texas and Florida are crooks except for one. That's just a blanket statement that should never be made. I understand what he's trying to say. People aren't paying him melt or spot for his coins, so he's unhappy about it, and he thinks they're crooks because of it. So he got offered 4% back. Well, I can tell you right now, I can go to a coin show and I can buy pre-33 gold for melt, and I did it and I showed it, and it's been that way. When gold goes up like this, the common date stuff, the circulated stuff, the most common coins, gold coins, silver, the generics, all of it can be purchased for pretty much melt because it's going up so fast. It almost eats the premiums up. We talked about this yesterday. You can do your own research. If it's a 10th ounce, you're going to get over whatever melt is, whatever spot is. Melt is how much a coin's worth by its weight. Spot is how much it's worth by whatever the silver or gold is at right now. Let's say it's at 3,400, then that's spot. But if you got a coin that's worn, its melt might be a little bit less. Or if you got a 90% coin, it might be a little bit less. So that's your melt. But I'm using both words because some dealers and some refineries will weigh coins and pay you by the weight. Some will pay you by the face value. Some will pay you, if it says an ounce on it, they'll pay you based off of being an ounce of gold. So we know that the 10th ounces and the 4th ounces too will go for a premium over whatever gold spot is. Now, a dealer is going to pay you a little bit over. Now, if it's a 1 ounce, probably not. I can buy Krugerrands right now, 1 ounce Krugerrands from dealers for spot. I can buy gold maples for about 0.5% over spot. That could change, but that's currently what I can do. Now, if that's the case, they purchased this less than melt. Now, was it 0.5% less than melt? Was it 2% less than melt? 4%? Who knows? It varies dealer to dealer. But those dealers are not crooks for not paying you for something that they can sell at melt or have trouble selling at melt, especially when you have dealers taking pre-33 to the refinery. There's dealers cracking coins out of holders and taking them to the refinery right now. Even though some of you might have some money and say you're willing to buy it, it's still not enough. There's tens of thousands of ounces out there of gold, and people are not buying it because it's so high. Even if some people have the money to buy it, they're waiting. When it goes up, they wait. It needs to stay a certain price for a while. That way people can be confident that it's not going to be so volatile. And that's just how it is. So calling dealers crooks because they're not paying you what you think a coin is worth is wrong. They're not crooks. You know, I pay what I think something's worth, not what you think it's worth. Sometimes we're in agreement. You know, a lot of times people come in and they're surprised at the prices that I pay for something, and some people are disappointed. But most people are not disappointed. Very few people are disappointed. It's usually the ones that are not educated in coin values. They got a hold of some bad information, whatever it might be, but that's usually kind of rare, or at least once I talk to them and show them the price guide, show them what stuff's selling for, then they agree with me. Now, the U.S. Mint by law, has to pay melt for their gold or spot. In that case, they either buy it from someone who, they have to buy it from someone who has less than melt in it, or that person can't sell it to them and make any money. So typically, they're buying from refineries, suppliers, whatever it might be, and those will definitely pay less than melt. As I said, refineries are not crooks. They're a business. They have to pay so much. Coin dealers are the same thing. If they're going to pay you 96% melt or 95% of melt or 95% of spot or whatever it might be, whatever you have, whether it's constitutional silver, whether it's silver rounds, silver eagles, they're not being crooks. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, but look at the premium. If you can sell it for $5 over, you should be paying at least melt or $1 over. Yes and no. You have to consider that if it's online, there's credit card fees. And you also have to consider there's packing and shipping. And if you charge a flat rate, typically we charge, I think it's $4 or $5. I think it's $5 flat rate. If you buy a roll of silver eagles from us, then we're eating most of the shipping because that's going to weigh more than a pound. And that's going to put us in the priority. So we're probably going to pay 10, and then we put insurance on it. So we're paying around 15 bucks or 20 bucks to ship it to you. Plus we're eating the 3% fee plus the flat fee, whatever that is, if we're going through PayPal and credit cards. So we're eating a lot of the cost and the time that it takes and the employee that I hire to pack everything up. So if I want to, that probably puts me down to making about $3 on a silver eagle, and that's fair, and that's probably more than the average. But that's how much I want to make. That's how I survive. I don't do the volume to be able to make 0.5% like the larger bullion dealers. I can't do that. I can't sling 5 million in a month like they can and do 60 million in a year. Or 100 and some million a year. I mean, we're talking SD bullion, JM bullion. They can survive on 0.5%, 1%, 2% of profit margins. I cannot. I don't do that kind of volume. So maybe I'm not the guy that you want to sell to, but that does not make me a crook. I am just surviving in a very volatile market. We saw silver drop $4 and $6, and that's huge. We saw 100, 200 in gold. It could happen again at the whim of a politician, at the whim of the federal, whatever comes out in the news, the media. It can happen again. And I know that. And I don't have the assets. I don't have the ability to continue to take losses just because someone thinks that I need to pay them a certain amount, and because they don't understand the business model. They don't understand how businesses are. I had someone else ask me if I buy gold, and they sent me an email and a list and what SD Bullion was trying to pay them, and they weren't happy because they were pretty much trying to pay them about melt for everything. But it was all common stuff. And I don't understand that. Like, it's went up. If you're making money on it, be happy if you're trying to sell it and you need to sell it. But thinking I can pay more than SD Bullion, I don't think that's fair. I don't see how I can. There might be some instances where I would, but I can definitely sell it a little bit cheaper than them because they have to make a certain amount to keep their 1% or their whatever they make, 5% profit margins. But it's really complicated because one thing I might be able to pay more for than they can, and other things they can pay more than I can. I can sometimes sell it cheaper than them because I want to be a little bit cheaper and I'm eating the credit card fees, or I'm adding the credit card fees but still making a little bit cheaper. You're not paying the complete credit card fee. That's kind of how we work it here. We do look at that. But you got to understand the business. Calling dealers crooks is just not going to cut it. You've got to dig into it and realize that just because you're not getting what you want does not make a dealer a crook. Has nothing to do with it. They're not being deceitful and dishonest. A crook is deceitful and dishonest. You know, a crook lies. A crook deceives. That's the difference here. Malicious. A dealer is just trying to pay what they've got to pay so they can make the amount of money they need to make to survive. They know what they need. They do their financial statements. They know what their employees cost. They know what all their expenses cost. And it's different for each dealer. It's different in each state. And you have to understand that when you're going in and doing business with a dealer. They also know a little bit more than you do about it, and they also watch the market, and they're watching trends, and they also read the news. They also know the possibility of silver maybe going down today a little bit or tomorrow. It all depends on what the paper's doing, the ETFs, the futures, all that stuff comes into play. So anyways, thanks for watching my latest video. Please like, share, and comment, and have a great day.